Good afternoon, everyone. So glad so many of you could join me. And thank you so much for all of the compliments. I guess I didn't realize initially that you guys could see me, even though you couldn't hear me. So glad at least that our presentation is working and working just fine. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get started. Welcome to How to Complete Your Clia Certification During COVID. Many of you are familiar with me, but for those of you who are not, let's go ahead and learn who I am. My name is Stephani McDow. I'm the Senior Director of Professional Development and Trade Programs with Cruise Lines International Association. Here are all of the ways in which you can get in touch with me and the team. So speaking of the team, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about them. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this webinar in this way, and this way that you can see me more directly, as well as all of the um, pictures that I'll be showing you, is because I recognize that, during this particular time, everything is a Zoom, everything is a webinar, right? Everything is virtual. So I wanted to kind of develop, if possible, a little bit of more of a intimate conversation, if you will, during this presentation. So again, though you know our team, most of you anyway, I wanted to reintroduce you because it's been quite a while since you've had the opportunity to really see them. So this is Clia's North America Travel Trade Membership Professional Development Team. And this is my crew. So many of you are familiar with our Heidi Olson, who's the Senior Manager of Industry Training. Shawishi Shai Boston, our Senior Manager of Learning Administration. And as you know, both Shai and Heidi are our superstar trainers, as well as Justin Whitmer, our Professional Development Specialist, who is actually joining me today and will be reading your questions out at the end of the presentation. So get those questions in the question box and Justin will read them out to me so that I can answer them. All right, so let's keep it moving. Now, before we begin, there are a couple of polls I wanted to take. As I mentioned to you, I did not write a script per se for this webinar. I just wanted to give you all the information and knowledge that I had in the top of my head. But at the same time, I wanted to get a gauge on kind of where you are in your certification journey, particularly around this particular time that we're going to discuss during this pandemic. So I'm going to launch the first poll question, and I'm going to give you a few minutes to respond. So I am launching that first question right now. Okay, so I see that a number of you are responding. Thank you so much. I'm going to close this poll in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and I'm closing. So let's see how you guys did. Let's go ahead and share those results. Okay, so it looks like approximately 75% of you are currently enrolled in Clia certification and 25% of you are not. And welcome to the 25% who are not. Hopefully I'll be able to give you all of the insight and the information that you need today to be able to make the decision to move forward and enroll in certification. Okay, so 2 more poll questions, and bear with me one moment while I pull those up. The next poll question is as follows. What level of Clia certification are you currently enrolled in or considering enrolling in? So I am going to let this continue to stay open for another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. I've closed that poll, and let's go ahead and share that response. And it looks like the vast majority of you are either enrolled in or considering enrolling in our first 2 levels of certification, which are our 2 entry points, 44% at CCC, 31% at ACC, followed by 16% in MCC, 6% ECC, and 2% TAE. Well done, all of you. And then there's just one more poll question, and I promise I will stop with the polls. But again, I'm just trying to get a gauge on where all of you are, in your journey and how I can best assist you as far as sharing information. So this is going to be the final poll question, and I'm launching it right now. Okay, Considering completing your certification during the pandemic, what requirement areas concern you the most? Now I'm going to leave this up for an additional 3 to 1 second, and I'm closing it right now. So let's see those results. Okay, it looks like 51% of you are really concerned about the personal cruise experience, as well as 49% stateroom sales. And trust me, we were completely right on target when I developed this slide to be able to talk to those specific items, as well as 36% at ship inspections and 34% regarding Clia courses and live or training event attendance. So thank you all so very much for participating in this poll. I just want to make sure that as I'm going through all of this information, I am sharing with you all of the information that you absolutely need to know and need to hear to complete your certification during this particular and very, very different time that we're living in right now. So again, I have another point to make before we begin, and that's expectations. And one of the things I wanted to put out there is that this particular webinar, we're not going to go through every individual certification and the requirements there. And it is expected that you are either already enrolled in certification or know how to enroll in Clia certification, as well as you know the requirements for your Clia certification level. Now, if you don't know this information or you're unsure, go to cruising.org and click on professional development under travel agents. Or you can email us at training@cruising.org or set up a career counseling appointment at cruising.org/career counseling. Okay, so again, what this webinar is about is to help you complete your Clia certification during this pandemic. And to be successful, you know, one of the things that's really important to us, to all of us here at Clia, is how we can best serve our membership community. So let's move forward. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? COVID-19, you know, it came into our world and rocked it. It absolutely stopped the world from turning, affecting all of us in a number of ways. In every industry that we've ever known of, it's affecting us all, whether that means personal finances, personal business, personal family, all of these things is absolutely affected us. And regarding Clia and Clia certification, it's absolutely affected your ability to meet the Clia certification requirements as you normally would with the cruise industry on suspension and having been suspended for quite some time at this point. So one of the things that's super important to us is that we convey to you just the bottom line is this: we are here to serve you, to serve our community, to make the absolute best that we can of any given situation and to help you to earn the credentials, earn the knowledge and the professional development necessary for you to be successful within the cruise industry. So with that said, we're definitely not going to hold anything against you about not being able to meet your certification requirements. Clia is here for you, and Clia will work with every single individual throughout this time. Okay, so with that said, I just wanted to make it clear that this unfortunately is going to have to be a case-by-case basis. This isn't something where we can just make blanket updates within our system, because each of you are pursuing your certification requirements individually, right? One person may be further along than the next. This is why back on September 18th, actually, I sent an email out to everyone who was enrolled in certification at that time. And I recognize that there are some folks here on this webinar who were not, did not receive that email because you weren't yet enrolled in certification. And that's absolutely fine. And I'm more than happy to assist you with, again, information that will help you make that decision today. However, the email that I sent out was basically explaining in short and sweet terms, if your certification is coming near to your expiration date, or your expiration date could be as far as 6 months out, and you just noticed that you've been unable to meet the requirements because of everything that has happened this year with COVID-19, that we're going to work with you. We're going to work with you individually. So one of the things I asked in that email is for each of you to schedule a career counseling appointment so that you can meet with one of the members of the team to go through exactly what you need. So for example, some of you may have met all of the requirements for your mandatory training, most of your ship inspections, maybe even all of your stateroom sales, and you're having a trouble, of course, with the personal cruise experiences because there is no cruising right now, right? So one of the things that we would do is work with you. We'd identify, okay, this is when your certification will expire, and it's possible that we'll be back to cruising. You'll be able to book your cruise by such and such date. Let's go ahead and extend your expiration date to this month and day. And then if you are able to book your cruise within that time frame and take it, perfect. No need to provide us with any additional information. Just upload that information into your logbook and submit it for grading. If you are not able to book and take your cruise by that date, then again, just schedule another career counseling appointment with us. We make notes every time we have a conversation with you. We look in the system and we add all of our appropriate notes. So it'll be very easy for a member of the team to go back and say, oh, I see where you spoke with Heidi on this date and she extended it. I completely understand that you were not able to take your cruise. Let's go ahead and extend it an additional period of time. Okay, so again, this is something we want to work with each and every one of you one-on-one, and we want to make sure that we're supporting you as best we can. So let's continue through this presentation. Before we begin our agenda, so I'm going to go through those requirement areas where I asked you in the poll, which area do you think is the one that you're struggling with meeting right now, given COVID-19. I'm also going to go over a few of the frequently asked questions that we've received in our inbox. And then I'm going to completely open the floor to questions from all of you. During that time, our wonderful Justin Whitmer, who's in the background right now, will read those questions out to me, say your name, read your question, and I will then answer the question, okay? So again, make sure you're putting your questions in the inbox and let us know. Now, we're going to address as many questions as time will allow, absolutely, but I want you to be very mindful that the questions that are probably most beneficial for us to answer right now are those that will allow us to answer them right now at this moment without having to look in the database to look at your specific situation, okay? So I just wanted to give you that heads up. If you have a very, very detailed question, particularly about your logbook and your situation, again, it's best that you schedule a career counseling appointment and one of the team members will be more than happy to assist you. Now, one of our areas that we talked about is Clia courses and event attendance. There are many of our Clia certifications that require, of course, Clia courses as well as attendance at a live or virtual training event or even Cruise 360. Now, many of you know, of course, like practically everything else in this country right now, and since March more or less, is, we've had to cancel a great number of our live events, including, unfortunately, our beloved Cruise 360. But we have pivoted and we've had a number of virtual events made available to our entire membership community, as well as online courses. So for those of you who have that concern, I believe it was 34% when we looked at that, you can absolutely meet those requirements online. You can take our online courses. We even have 2 online certificate programs presently, Meetings and Events at Sea, as well as Luxury Cruise Travel Certificate Program. Both of those are available online presently. In regards to our 2020 virtual training events, we actually have 2 more taking place this year, one in November and one in December. And you will get the credit necessary to complete your certification for meeting that requirement as far as attending an event. Regarding 2021 virtual and live training events, we will start virtual events at the beginning of the year, working throughout the year, and we absolutely plan to have some live training events, not as many as we have had in the past, but we are working to have those and get those in place. Of course, like you, like everyone else in other industries, we're still kind of waiting to see, what happens, with the pandemic, how that is going to continue to affect us as far as, social distancing and things of that nature. So as we learn more, as we always do, we will communicate out to you. But I'm letting you know right now, in 2021, we're absolutely planning to have more virtual events and live training events. Okay, so let's go on. Speaking of live training events, and for those of you who are enrolled in certification that requires attendance at Cruise 360, Cruise 360 is taking place next year, 2021, in Hollywood, Florida. Registration is open right now. It'll be July 27th through August 1st, so a little bit of a different time frame than we're used to, right? We're used to showing up and seeing each other in Florida in April. But it's a little further out this time, so I hope that you're able to attend and join us. If not, there will be one in 2022, but you'll have to stay tuned for that information as far as dates and location, all right? So again, for those of you who may have, say, for example, you've met all of your requirements and the only one you have not met is Cruise 360. You can attend in 2021, even if your logbook is expected to expire, let's say March. We will extend it out so that you can attend Cruise 360 and be able to complete your certification. The beautiful thing about that is attending Cruise 360, and I've said this a million times over, is probably one of the fastest ways to meet the majority of the requirements for your cruise, for your certification. So it's almost like killing two birds with one stone. You could have yours extended just so you can attend Cruise 360, get that credit to complete one certification while getting credits at Cruise 360 to start your next certification. So again, we are always thinking along those lines. How can we best serve you? How can we make this easiest for you? Okay. On to ship inspections. I know you guys are missing ship inspections, live ones, that is, probably as much as the rest of us are, just kind of itching to be back on board a ship. But regarding ship inspections and your requirements, now, normally we go back a certain amount of time, right, from the date that you enroll to accept ship inspections that you've had. I believe it's 3 years. Now, if you have met those ship inspection requirements from those 3 years, wonderful. Let's just say that you had almost all of them and you weren't able to get any in this year and you're expiring soon or what have you. If you had another one that was not that far beyond that 3 years, perfect. Let us know about it when you schedule that career counseling appointment. We can make that happen for you. For those of you, however, who just don't have the ship inspections, beautiful thing is, one of the things we've been trying to do and really trying to rev up with our trade relations committee, and our trade relations committee encompasses the sales executives at all of Clia's global cruise lines. And we've been talking to them, year over year about the importance of virtual ship inspections. Well, this year, they're like, yes, we get it now, and now is the time. So right now, we have 11 virtual ship inspections available for you to register for, and there will be more coming. We actually have more that we're currently in the development of, and we're waiting for more to come from the cruise line. So I don't want you guys to be worried at all. If you have not been able to go on a live ship inspection, virtual ship inspection option is available and works to meet your requirements. Now, personal cruise experiences. How many of you miss the ocean as much as I do? I'm not gonna lie, I am missing that salty sea air. I want to feel the sun on my face and the sun bouncing up off that water. It's just something that, you realize you love, but don't realize truly how much you miss it until you can't take part in it anymore. So I'm sure many of you understand and feel me when I say that. But back to the requirements. So many of you are required to, well, basically all of you are required to have a personal cruise experience to meet your Cleo certification. Now, regarding previous cruises, again, we go back a certain amount of time from the date that you enroll to include cruises that you may have already taken. Now, I believe that time frame right now is 1 year out. Let's say you had one that was a little further out than just the 1 year. When you make your career counseling appointment, let us know. We will work with you regardless, okay? In addition to that, let's just say that some of our requirements require that it's 2 different cruise lines or 2 different products. If that was not able to happen, again, because of COVID, let us know. If you happen to have 2 cruises on the same cruise line and it happens to have been the same itinerary, we will work with you, okay? Now, regarding future cruises, same thing. Let's say that, you know, originally you had planned to go on a cruise, but it got canceled and you were able to reschedule a cruise for later in 2021. Let us know. We will extend your expiration date, okay? Finally, probably one of the biggest things that folks are really concerned about are your stateroom sales requirements. Now, one of the things I wanted to reiterate or let you guys know, and you may be able to tell from this slide that I've put together here, but I wanted to remind you all that it is the booking or deposit date that matters. Doesn't matter if after that the cruise was canceled, if the cruise was suspended, if the person was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. That doesn't matter. It's that booking date that matters. You want to know why? Because you've done your job as a travel professional in qualifying them and making the sale. That's the requirement that we need for Clia certification. So it doesn't matter if they were canceled, it counts. Okay, so consider that as far as your whole bucket of stateroom sales meeting the requirement depending upon your level. Now, again, from the day that you enroll in Clia certification, we do go back 3 months for stateroom sales, right? Like same thing. If they canceled it or what have you, doesn't matter. If you've booked it and the date is within that 3 months, it counts. If you happen to have booked, I don't know, a whole group a month before that 3 months, and because of COVID, you were unable to book anything in the last 8 months, let us know. Say, you know what, but I booked a whole group a month out, but it didn't count because it wasn't 3 months. Let us know. We will work with you and we will make it happen. Okay. Now, let me just make my way over to some frequently asked questions that we have received thus far. I hope that I was able to answer quite a few of them already based on the information I provided with requirement areas as we've gone through this presentation so far, but there's a few more questions, so let me hop to those. All right, first question. I mailed my paper logbook into the DC office last month and I still haven't heard anything. What gives? Well, like many folks in this country, we all have been put in a position where we've had to work from home. It looks like I honestly couldn't tell you or won't be able to tell you when we'll be able to return back to the DC office. However, DC in general is still more or less closed down, and we're generally not allowed back to work full throttle. There are occasions when one of us can make it to the office, but it's going to take some time. So I ask that you maintain a little bit of patience with us because like you, we are quarantining, we are social distancing, and we're doing what's best to make sure that everyone remains healthy, happy, and safe. Okay, so we're hoping that within the next week or two, someone will be able to make it to the office to collect any paper logbooks that were mailed in for grading. With that said, given the climate in which we are currently living, virtual is the best and fastest way to make things happen, okay? So all of you, when you enroll in Clia certification, you have access to your electronic logbook, and therein you can upload all of the proof of your requirements met, and you can submit it online. So it's not that often that we get paper logbooks mailed in, but I wanted to make sure that I addressed that question, okay? Next question. I finished all my mandatory and elective training as well as ship inspection requirements. I haven't been able to book any staterooms. Help. Okay, we can definitely help you with that. Say, you know, depending upon when your individual logbook expires, when you think you'll be able to start booking, let us know. That's why we want you to reach out to us and schedule career counseling appointments, because as you were having this conversation, we can work with you or help you better plan for meeting your requirements. You know, these are questions and these are situations where just responding to you via email is not suitable. We need to have a full-on dialogue with each and every one of you so that we can make sure we're assisting you to the best of our ability. Same thing with a phone call in. I don't know how many of you know this, but our membership call center team is pretty small, and we serve a membership community of 45,000. So that's another reason why I am encouraging all of you to schedule a career counseling appointment, because that is 15 minutes of uninterrupted one-on-one time with you, between you and a member of the team, to be able to address all of your questions. And you can have as many career counseling appointments as you need to meet your needs, okay? And with there being one more question, I'm going to ask that now. I had 2 cruises booked to take for my certification, but they were canceled because of the suspension. What now? Don't worry about it. We've got you covered. So what I'm going to ask you again, as I've been asking throughout this entire event, is schedule a career counseling appointment. You know, if you've already had the conversation where you've rescheduled and you've booked it, let us know what the sale date is. We can extend out your expiration date just past that sale date so that that cruise is included. Okay, so I think for the most part, I am done with my little spiel and I am ready to take your questions.
All right, Stephanie. Nikita asked, when will Clia membership open for new agents?
Great question. So we are hoping that that will open sometime next month. As you may be familiar, we have to have our travel agency members join first so that individual agent members can join next. So we are hoping to open our travel agency membership soon, and then shortly thereafter we will open individual agent membership enrollment, and you can expect email notifications when that takes place, and they will be also updated on our website. A lot of questions that Justin has to sort through, so
Yeah, I'm trying to find a couple that are consistent. Are there certain dates that you need to take the virtual ship inspections, or can you just take these at your own pace?
that's a great question. You do not have certain dates at your own pace is absolutely right. The minute that you enroll or register for a virtual ship inspection and you make it through the process and you log into your My Clia account under My Training, they'll be right there for you to take either right there at that moment or whenever it works best for you. Harry McKenzie, I'm changing host in the middle of certification. Will that affect anything with my certification? No, it will not. As long as the host that you are transferring to or you're changing to is a Clia member, and you can maintain your individual agent membership through them, it will not change. Your certification path follows you, not your agency. I also just saw another question that I'd like to go ahead and answer while Justin is sorting through, from Miss Mary Hood. The question is, Bahamas Paradise is starting up a little earlier than some others, but they aren't one of Clia's ships, of your Clia ships. Can they be used as a personal cruise? Unfortunately, they cannot. For many of you who have been with us for a long time, and those of you who are newer with us, know that Clia Global Cruise Lines are just as much, though on my particular part of the business, for the travel trade, my job is to support you, where there are other members of Clia or staff of Clia that support the cruise lines. So it's very important that the cruises that you take are a part of our global cruise lines. Sharon Brown, will 4 free classes still be offered as part of Clia membership? Absolutely. Absolutely. Keisha Dixon, how do you deal with letter of verification? So I'm not sure what you mean by how do you deal with it, but I can tell you that your letter of verification is from your agency. You get them to send a letter on your behalf, citing that you are a travel agent of theirs in good standing, and you would upload that into your electronic logbook to meet that particular requirement. Here's a good one from Marcel. What comes first, taking the courses and certification training or applying for the Clia membership? So the thing is, you cannot enroll in Clia certification unless you are an individual agent member with Clia. It is a member benefit to enroll in certification and complete it, as well as maintain it. So you have to be a Clia member first. There are many folks who happen to have taken Clia training outside of that, whether it be at a live event where Clia has shown up at your host agency's event to do some training and you've gotten Clia credit that way, or you were still just kind of testing the waters, if you will, and you've enrolled in Clia Clia online course as a non-member, and you've taken that and you've earned credit. That's all great, and those credits will apply, but you have to enroll as a Clia individual agent member to be able to enroll in Clia certification.
And Stephanie, I got one from Donna. It says, am I able to downgrade or upgrade the certification that I originally signed up for?
I believe that's absolutely doable. Downgrading, so my assumption is, so let me talk about this just a little bit. My assumption is that you're enrolled perhaps in CCC or ACC and you want to switch between the two. That's something we can definitely work with. However, if you're enrolled in MCC, you already have your ACC, so you wouldn't be going that way. And I doubt that you're trying to go the ECC route, since the requirements are a little more intensive there. So if that is the case, I hope that I answered your question specifically. If not, again, schedule a career counseling appointment. Quickly, here's one from Gwendolyn Williams. I have completed the entire checklist for CCC certification, but do not understand what I am missing for my certification status. If you've completed everything and you've uploaded it appropriately within your electronic logbook and submitted it, you should be good to go for grading and graduation if you've met all the requirements. So if you have not yet submitted it, then yeah, we wouldn't have that information to be able to grade. By the way, for those of you who don't know, our very own Justin Whitmer, who's asking some of these wonderful questions on your behalf, is our sole logbook grader. So this guy the voice that you hear, he is the person responsible for reviewing all of your requirements and grading your logbooks. He's not the only staff person that you can have a career counseling appointment with. You can practically have one of those with the entire professional development and membership team. However, this guy, he does a lot of great work. So
thank you, Stephanie. We got a question from Sharon. It says, how can I get this recording afterwards?
Great question. I do believe that this recording will go out via email to the entire membership community. It will be made available, I believe, on, if not our website, then our YouTube channel. But regardless, you will receive the notification and the information necessary to access this recording.
All right, Stephanie, and where could an individual agent find their logbook?
Oh, great question. So if you're enrolled in certification, this is what I'm going to tell you to do. Log into your MyClia account. Actually, I wonder if I could do a little show and tell. Bear with me, I might be able to show you all this good stuff. Let me move this over here. Justin, can you confirm whether or not you can see my browser window?
I can.
Wonderful. Okay, so for those of you who are not sure how to access or where to access your logbook, so you would come to Clia's homepage at cruising.org. You click login, and of course you log in accordingly. And then this will take you to your MyClia account. Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't. It doesn't seem to like me at this moment. Ah, there we are. So once you get to your MyClia account, you will see all of these tabs here that kind of explain various things and what you can access. And if you go right here where it says My Certifications and click Go Now, it will show you your certifications and your electronic logbooks. And here you can see all the ones that I've finished, and even some that I tested to make sure that they work correctly for you. So this is where you would access your logbooks. In addition to that, here, if you look at the top right-hand corner just above your logbook, you can access your Logbook PDF. Now with that PDF, and that's old, pardon me for that, but that's when I completed that certification, so it's fine. But once you look at the PDF, it's super important because the bottom line is this: the electronic logbook is basically your folder, if you will. That's where you're going to upload all of your proof. But to find out the very specific details as to what you need to upload and all the information that you need for your certification, you're going to be able to access that in your logbook PDF. That's where you need to go to find out all of the details, okay? I have one here from Rhonda Moore. And it's a great question, and it actually leads to something that I think I should have spoken to. And I'm glad, Rhonda, that you asked this question because it's going to allow me the opportunity to address it now. I'm only missing one personal cruise to complete ACC. Will I be able to start my logbook for the MCC online, which I only miss staterooms and personal cruises? So here's what I'd like to do regarding that, because I do recognize that because of this pandemic, because of COVID and how it's affected your business, that extending these deadlines or extending these expiration dates then kind of puts you on pause before you can enroll in the next level of certification to some degree. Now, with that said, it does, but it doesn't. While it may prevent you from actually enrolling in that level of certification, it does not prevent you from working on the requirements. So my encouragement to you is, if you've met all of the requirements for your ACC and you are just waiting for that one personal cruise, but you want to start working on the requirements for the MCC, work on the requirements for the MCC because they will still count. I'm going to definitely work with the team to be able to be mindful of, you know what, if someone's ACC was extended out an additional year so that they can get that personal cruise experience, but they wanted to complete their MCC as well, then what we'll do is make sure that we will accept what you've done while you've been in that holding pattern waiting for that personal cruise throughout for your ACC. We'll accept the work that you've done. Mind you, Clia courses, certification, event attendance, that's evergreen. It's going to count. However, other things, right, like stateroom sales, ship inspections, etc., may not. But trust that we will continue to work with you. We will accept that work that you've done towards your MCC. So the minute that you finish your ACC and graduate with that, after you've taken that personal cruise and you enroll in MCC, literally all you're doing is uploading all of your stuff and you're practically ready to go.
All right, Stephanie, Gary is asking, if he missed one of the accessible travel modules, how can he make that up?
Great question, Gary. Actually, you can make it up by attending the virtual training event taking place in November. It's a 2-day event happening over a weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday will be new seminars that we're going to offer you, but on Sunday we're doing makeup sessions for those folks who have missed the third and fourth module of the Accessible Cruise Travel certificate program. When we originally scheduled planned our schedule for this year, we were only going to offer the Accessible Cruise Travel certificate program via 4 virtual courses. But then COVID happened, right? And we had to pivot, knowing that we weren't doing many, if any, if we were lucky, live training events. So we ended up making up these makeup sessions and adding it as part of virtual training events for this year. So back in August, we had a weekend one where on Saturday we had training, other seminars that we trained, as well as some sponsors, some suppliers who did some training as well. And then on Sunday was a makeup session for those who may have missed module 1 and 2. So November is where we're making up that modules 3 and 4 on Sunday. You guys have a lot of questions, and that's a good thing. And again, if for whatever reason I am unable to get to your question today, or Justin, because I do see that he's also manually answering a number of your questions, responding. Again, career counseling appointment. That is going to be your best bet. Again, you're going to have that one-on-one time with a member of the staff, uninterrupted, 15 minutes straight. They're going to open up your record and look at everything. You're going to communicate what you've done, what you haven't done, what you can do, what you can't do, and we'll work with you to make it happen. Elizabeth Myers has an interesting question. Can the certification virtual event for MCC in December count for both mandatory and elective training aspects? I am confused because it seems like it would count for one or the other, but not both based on the MCC requirements. Excellent question. So basically it's this. Full attendance at a live or virtual event will meet that particular requirement. That's attending the event. Now, when you pass or complete the training and or any quizzes involved, then you get those credits and that and those potential requirements met under mandatory or what have you. So for example, in December, we're doing the Family Cruise Travel Certificate Program as that virtual training event. Yes, it meets more than one requirement, okay? So attending that event, the full event, you get that requirement met, and it earns you a certificate program. It meets that requirement, okay? So you have lots more opportunities there. Rashida, yes, Virgin Voyages is a Clia global cruise line. Regarding the virtual ship inspection, and this is a question from Takesha, regarding the virtual ship inspection, will it be more like a real ship go through? I attended one before and I felt it was lacking. So one of the things that has been glorious is that when the cruise lines, our trade relations committee and all the sales executives of our global cruise line members were on board, they definitely took it by the, take the bull by the horns and they ran with it. It's great. Trust me in that you will get more of a walkthrough with these newer or these more recent virtual ship inspections that are made available to you.
A couple different people asked, what are the dates for the November virtual training event? I can go ahead and answer that for you. It is November 7th and 8th.
Well, that was quick. Thanks, Justin. Is it Mikhail Claiborne Crosby? And I apologize if I've mispronounced your name. The question is, what is the phone number for career counseling staff? There is no phone number. We have an entire system that allows you to pick who you're talking to and what you're going to talk to them about. So if you go to, again, cruising.org/career counseling, and you click on the link there, it'll take you to how to book your career counseling. So booking them takes place online.
And on that note, I would recommend booking them as soon as possible, as I've had many appointments scheduled already during this webinar.
Yes, so just to give you guys a heads up, I believe we have 7 career counselors, if you will, available. And again, it's our membership and professional development team. So it's the same folks who are answering calls and responding to your emails day in and day out for whether it's membership, professional development, emails that you receive, Cruise 360. So what we've done is we've blocked off certain parts of their daily schedule to be able to call you during these career counseling appointments. So that's why it's really important that you hop in there and begin booking as soon as possible, okay?
Stephanie, a couple of different people have asked, can you apply a personal stateroom sale towards your stateroom sale requirement?
You booked yourself? I think that counts.
It does count, but I would note that there is also a personal cruise experience requirement. So as long as you've met those, yes.
From the mouth of our logbook grader. Ginger Fillers asks, how do we see what dates the stateroom sales need to be within? Again, so when you enroll in Clia certification, right, you have a certain period of time where you have to meet the requirements, right? So if it's CCC, if you enroll presently in CCC, you have 1.5 years to meet all those requirements. So the stateroom booking date has to be within that 1.5 years. But again, we do go back 3 months. So with us going back 3 months, if the stateroom sale was booked within that 3-month period, it counts. Now, again, talking about the fact that, COVID has had an impact on your business and booking, et cetera, and we will be willing to possibly go back a little further or extend your expiration date out further, whichever one seems to work best. That's what we'll have the conversation with you about during the career counseling appointment. So you have to consider those as your dates. Again, if you are enrolled in Clia certification and you need to know what your requirements are, log into my Clia, go to my certifications, and click on that Logbook PDF. What we put on the front page or the web page that's publicly available is just a high-level overview of the Clia requirements. To find out the details, you have to look at that Logbook PDF, and that will assist you. Okay, even though this is a professional development webinar, and we're talking about certification, I did see one about the Embark ID. And I'm going to ask you to remember, and I believe it's Kai Lin. And again, I apologize if I've mispronounced your name. But again, as I referenced before about those who may have been mailing in their logbooks, the DC office is presently unmanned, if you will. All of us are working remotely due to quarantine and social distancing. However, we have had members of the team, including our very own Justin Whitmer, make their way into the office to mail out the Embark IDs for the 2020 membership. So I believe those are still being mailed. And if you have not received your Embark ID as of next week, I would think, please call our membership call center at 202-759-9370.
All right, Stephanie, if a cruise line is offering a virtual ship inspection, can they use that, or do they have to use Clia virtual ship inspections?
That's a great question. You have to use Clia virtual ship inspections, and here's the reason why. We have set up certain parameters that we want or are requiring that our cruise line members meet during those virtual ship inspections that will allow you to complete our virtual ship inspection form so that you can get credit. The thing is, if we have not reviewed the content for any of the other ones offered outside of Clia, we can't validate that they have provided you all of the information that Clia requires for certification requirement. There was a question, and pardon me because I can't remember exactly who posted it because it went really that quickly. But one of the questions was, for those questions that I have not answered live here, will they be part of the post quiz? Of the post recording. We can't record the questions and the answers once we end here. However, there may be an opportunity where there may be some questions that we were unable to answer during that we may be able to email out. So don't quote me on that just yet, but we may be able to offer that. But regardless, again, and I apologize if you feel like I'm beating this in your head, because actually I am, is to schedule that career counseling appointment, okay? That is going to be your best bet in getting the information that you need for your specific situation. Debbie Gregory, you said, I haven't had the chance to book new personal cruise, but I did do a personal MSc seminar at sea 2019. Can this be used for my personal cruise? And the reason why I read out Debbie's question is because I wanted to be able to address this more broadly because it reiterates a little bit of the information I provided before. See, with this particular situation that Debbie's asked, she's asked something very, very specific to her situation. Right now, I can't answer it because I don't know what her start date was as far as when the date that she enrolled in it. You know, I don't have access to the system to be able to look at that and gauge everything else that she's done. So again, with situations like this and questions like this, it's best that you schedule that career counseling appointment. Lori Beckman asked, will Cruise World cruise inspections qualify? And I'll say this across the board. Now, for virtual ship inspections, no. Because again, I think we've already addressed that. Only Clia offered virtual ship inspections count. Now, if you go on a live ship inspection outside of Clia, outside of a Clia live training event, outside of Cruise 360, if you go on a ship inspection or have gone on a personal cruise in the past that you want to use as a ship inspection, because you can do that, then it doesn't matter where you've done it, as long as you toured the ship. Again, you have to read your electronic logbook, your logbook PDF, to read all of the ways that you can submit proof that you completed a live ship inspection.
All right, Stephanie, may I ask, on her Clia certification page, it states that 3 stateroom sales are required for the CCC, but on the enrollment page, it states 5. For her, which one would it be?
Great question, and that completely is reliant upon when you enrolled in CCC. Again, it's not a question I can answer. Whatever is on the original enrollment page are the requirements for the current year. So if you enrolled in certification prior to the current year, that information is not going to be there. The best way you can answer any of those questions, again, is to access your logbook PDF, and whatever the requirements say in your logbook PDF, those are the ones that you adhere to. So for example, when folks go to college and the year that they enroll in, that's that course catalog that they are required to stick with. If they're in college for 5-6 years, it's the requirements of the year of enrollment that they have to meet. Well, that's the same thing with Clia certification. You have to meet the requirements set forth in the year that you enroll. If they change the year after or the year after that, that does not apply to you. What applies to you is the requirements based on the year that you enrolled. Angela Mickey, you asked, when will hotel reservations be available for Cruise 360? Now, go to cruise360.org. Actually, Deanna Henderson, you had a really great question, and I wanted to take the time to answer this. Deanna asked, are you going to change the number of staterooms needed for certification? Now, many of you who have been with Clia a little longer or are further along in your certification path, you know that year over year, we do change requirements. We tweak them just a little bit. You know, sometimes we'll increase stateroom sale requirements. Sometimes we'll change various other levels within the requirements to basically better follow the trends taking place in the industry, and just to make sure that you're fully equipped to be the best cruise salesperson that you can be. That said, and because of COVID-19, when we move forward with 2021 certification requirements, they will be no different than they were for 2020. Again, recognizing that, you know, there were a lot of pauses that had to take place, a lot of suspensions. So we did not want to make any changes or make anything any more difficult to achieve. The requirements in 2021 will be the same as they were for 2020. There will be some other little changes, but again, that's more along the lines to assist you in better achieving the certification rather than making it any harder for you to achieve. So thank you for that question, Deanna. Okay, so it's now 4 o'clock, and I see that a lot of the questions that have come in are very specific to your individual circumstance. So here I am, being a broken record, schedule a career counseling appointment. If you're having issues with scheduling that appointment or having some difficulty in using our system, which is called Setmore, to schedule that appointment, call our membership call center and they can assist you with getting that scheduled. They won't necessarily, I don't know that whether or not they'll be able to schedule it for you, but they may be able to walk you through any technical matters that you're experiencing. And that number, again, is 202-759-9370. Okay. I hope that I was able to provide you with at least some helpful information to help you be able to navigate and complete your Clia certification during COVID, during this pandemic. And again, reach out to us if you have any questions. Book those career counseling appointments so that you can have those necessary conversations to ensure your success in completing your Clia certification. Thank you so much for attending, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you face to face really soon. I'll be at Cruise 360. I hope you will too, and I look forward to seeing you then. Take care, be safe, and stay healthy. Bye-bye.